Beginning. The shipyard at New Aurora was silent that night, except for the low hum of the orbital wind slicing through titanium beams. I was supposed to be alone, running maintenance on a freighter due for decommission. That was my punishment. Isolation. Ever since the incident on Epsilon Vega, the Federation had suspended me. Emotional compromise, they said. As if feeling something for an alien diplomat during a peace mission had been a crime. Her name still haunted my dreams. Lyara, the last surviving emissary of the Cellari, a telepathic species that once ruled 1,000 systems before vanishing into silence. I told myself she was gone. That what happened on Vega's moon was final. That the fire, the screams, and the Federation's cold report, no survivors, were the truth. But when I heard the static-laced whisper in my communicator that night, "Eli, can you hear me?" I froze. The voice was hers. I dropped the wrench and nearly tripped over the service cables. "Lyara," I whispered. "It's me," the voice said. "I need you to come to the coordinates I'm sending." The transmission cut out. A set of stellar coordinates blinked onto my wrist display. Deep in the outer rings, a lawless stretch of space the Federation hadn't charted in years. Something in me snapped back to life. Against every regulation and all logic, I fired up my old scout ship, the Hellion, and launched into the dark. For the first time in months I felt awake. Middle. The journey took 3 days in hyperspace. The coordinates led me to a fractured moon orbiting a dying gas giant. Its atmosphere shimmered with static storms, violet lightning tearing through red clouds. I almost turned back, until I saw a faint beacon pulse beneath the surface. Landing was rough. The ground was half ice, half volcanic glass. I followed the beacon through a canyon, heart pounding, until I reached what looked like a crashed vessel. Cellari design, unmistakably ancient. Inside, the air was stale but breathable. The corridors glowed with a faint bioluminescence, like veins of light running through metal. And there, standing beside a broken console, was her, Lyara. Her silver hair, once radiant, was dull and matted. Her skin, a faint lavender hue, had paled to ash. But her eyes, those deep, luminous eyes of swirling blue fire, they were unmistakable. "You came," she said softly. Could barely breathe. How are you alive?" She gave a faint smile. "Because of you." She touched her temple, and I felt the whisper of her thoughts brushing against mine. Fragments of fire, escape pods, and pain. I saw flashes of her ship being destroyed, her being captured by scavengers, and her eventual escape here, where her strength had begun to fade. "They think I'm dead," she said. "But I can't stay hidden much longer. My kind, what remains of us, they're being hunted." I stepped closer. "By who?" "By the Federation," she said, voice trembling. "Your people." Flinched. "That's not possible." She shook her head. "Eli, there are factions within your government that see us as threats. They want our telepathic genes for their soldiers, for their AI hybrids." She paused, her gaze softening. "And they will come here when they detect your ship." I should have felt betrayal. Instead I felt fury. "Then we run. I'll get you off this rock." She reached for my hand, her touch cold but electric. "You'd risk everything again." I didn't answer. I didn't have to. We worked through the night repairing her ship's core. Every now and then she'd collapse, her telepathic energy unstable. I carried her to the medbay, patched her wounds, and watched her sleep. That's when I realized I'd been lying to myself all this time. She wasn't just someone I'd tried to save. She was the reason I wanted to keep saving anything at all. When she finally woke, she smiled faintly. "You haven't changed," she said. "You have," I replied. You're weaker. And yet you came, she whispered. You still care. I looked away. I shouldn't. I wasn't supposed to be yours, she said softly. But destiny has no rules. Before I could respond, the ship's scanners went wild. Federation cruisers, 3 of them, had entered the moon's orbit. They found us, I muttered. Lyara staggered to her feet. They won't let me live. Not if they learn what I am. Then we don't give them the chance. I powered up her ship's engines. They screamed to life, but the hull trembled. The Federation ships began firing, raining plasma bolts onto the moon's surface. We lifted off just as the canyon exploded beneath us. The shockwave sent us spinning, alarms blaring. I barely managed to stabilize the vessel. They'll destroy us before we reach orbit, I shouted. Not if I stop them, she said. She staggered to the control room, her hands glowing with telepathic light. The air vibrated as her mind reached outward, into the void toward the pursuing ships. Through the viewport, I saw the impossible. The Federation cruisers halting mid-flight. Then, one by one, their engines flickered out. Lyara, what are you doing? Ending this, she whispered. They came for me. I'll make sure they never come again. Her power was immense. Too immense. I could see it draining her life away. I grabbed her shoulders. Stop. You'll kill yourself. Her eyes met mine, glowing brighter now. If I die, you'll live. That's enough. I shook my head violently. No, it's not. You can't just decide that. She smiled faintly through tears. You always saw me as more than what I was. Even when I was your enemy. I pressed my forehead against hers. You were never my enemy. And then something shifted, like a wave of light radiating from her heart. The ships outside disintegrated into dust, dissolving into the atmosphere. When I opened my eyes again, we were drifting in silence. The stars shimmered like diamonds. Lyara was in my arms, unconscious, breathing shallowly. Ending. We made it to the border colonies, far beyond Federation reach. For weeks, I nursed her back to health. Her body healed, but her mind was fractured. She had burned out part of her telepathic core, saving us. Still, she smiled more often. She'd watch the sunrise through the viewport and hum soft celery songs. One night, as I repaired a power conduit, I heard her voice behind me. Eli, she said gently. Do you ever think about fate? I turned, wiping grease from my hands. I think fate's a cruel trick. It gives us what we want too late. She stepped closer. Maybe not too late. Maybe just when we're ready. Her fingers brushed mine. There was warmth now, real and steady. I wasn't supposed to belong to anyone, she said. My people believed love was a weakness. But when I saw you fight for me, not as a soldier, not as a savior, but as a man who simply refused to abandon me, I knew. Knew what? I asked quietly. Her eyes shimmered like starlight. That I was already yours. I swallowed hard. Lyara, you don't have to say that. I'm not saying it, she whispered. I'm remembering it. From another life, another world. My people believe in reincarnation through the quantum stream. The idea that souls echo across galaxies. Maybe that's why I felt you before I met you. She took my hand and placed it over her heart. In the silence between stars, I heard your voice. That's how I knew where to find you. I couldn't speak. For once, the galaxy, the wars, the politics, the loss, fell away. All that remained was her heartbeat beneath my palm.